We're going to be talking about linear inequalities and factoring today, so we will need a calculator and Desmos for parts of this lesson. And when you get in class, I'll show you the calculator piece a little bit further. But let's go ahead and jump in here. So we're starting with linear inequalities. Make sure you find the one that matches that equation, since there are more notes today. On this, we're going to find the solution that matches this. So on this problem, automatically, we can tell that it has a slope of 3/4 and has a y-intercept of -4 based on this. But if you look, all four lines are almost identical. The only difference is whether it's a solid or dashed line, and whether the shading is below the line or above the line. So one of the battles we're going to have to fight with these type is to figure out if it is a solid or dashed line and if it's above or below. So I'm going to draw a quick chart here. I'm going to have to draw it, I guess, just in the middle here. I'll do it. Okay, so the first thing is if it looks like less than or greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. If it has the equal to bar, if it has a solid line underneath, it is a solid line. Solid. If it doesn't have the solid line, then it's dashed. Okay, so automatically, just stopping with that, this is a less than or equal to, so that is right here. It has a solid line underneath, so it should be a solid line, which means I can eliminate G and J. Vertically, these are both less thans. Well, that would be below the graph, and these would be greater thans, which are above the graph. So we already found out that it is less than or equal to, which is this sign right here. Which means it's also going to be below the line. So this shading is above, this shading is below, so it has to be F. Now, this is one of the things we can do if it's got y by itself. If it doesn't have y by itself, we're going to have to solve for y in order to be able to tell this. All right, next one is another type, so it's got y by itself, so I'm looking at greater than. So again, on that chart, greater than is right here. So we are looking for the dash line that is shaded above the line. So it's dashed and above. So automatically I can get rid of those two, which means now I got a 50-50 guess if you're not sure where to go from here. And then we're going to be looking above the line. So above that dash line would be this direction. Which one of those directions is actually in the shaded area? Well, it's D. So quick and easy, that's all you look at, is whether it's above or below, whether it's solid or dash, and you can eliminate answer choices. Your activity in class is going to be based on this and eliminating answer choices. So this is one way that linear inequalities is tested. Let's go see the other way. So the other way is you have this situation right here. 8x plus 16y is greater than 32. So 8x plus 16y is greater than 32. Now, we're going to have to actually graph this. There's two ways to do this. There's the way of doing it by hand, and there's a way of checking it points by graphing. Now, this looks like you're meant to graph this on here by solving for y and graphing it. However, that's a lot of work, and on your STAR test, you're not going to have this graph on paper, so it's really hard to do that way. So instead, what we're going to do is we want to figure out which ordered pair is in the solution set. If it's in the solution set, that means it's on a solid line, or it's in the shaded area. So actually what we're going to do is we're just going to take this x and y value, and we're actually going to just plug that in for x and y and see if it makes a true statement or a false statement. Now, this is really easy to do in the calculator. It's not that easy to do on Desmos, but I can show you. So I'm going to write 8 times x, which x is 0 in this example, plus 16 times y, y is 2, is greater than 32. Now, if you're doing this by hand real quick, 8 times 0 is 0. 16 times 2 is 32. That goes away. Is 32 greater than 32? No. 32 is equal to 32, so that would be wrong. Then you would go to your next one. So the next one would be 8 times, I'm going to go ahead and write all this so I don't have to switch colors as quickly. Okay, the next one is -3 and 5. Now, let me show you what you can do in Desmos a little bit easier. Instead of doing this by hand and multiplying, you can just type in that one side. Now, a quick note, if you do it like this, nothing is going to happen. it's going to be an error. You're not allowed to graph inequalities, so you can't do that. However, if you just type in the left side and simplify it, you get 56. So this becomes 56 is greater than 32. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Well, that is true. Because there's only one answer, we're done, and B is the answer. If it wasn't it, we would have to keep going. Now, the nice thing is, in the calculator, and I'll show you that in class, remember, that's when you can actually type this in just like this in the calculator, and it will tell you true or false, and you don't have to do that part by hand if you don't want to. I can't show you that on here because I don't have the calculator app, but I'll show you in class. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. This one's the same exact way. So this one says the graph is shown on the grid, so that really doesn't matter. If the order pairs in the solution set of this, which order pair? So again, we're just going to plug in those numbers to x and y and see if it's true or false. So my problem is 2x minus 5y is greater than or equal to 10. We're not going to do that part. I'm just going to change x and y to those numbers. So I'm going to change x to 0. I'm going to change y to 5. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing 2 times x, which is 0, minus 5 times y, which is 5, is greater than or equal to 10. That's negative 25. Is negative 25 greater than or equal to 10? No, that is not true. So then I would go to the next one. The next one is 5, 0. So I can change that 0 to a 5, change that 5 to a 0. Okay, this is 10. Is 10 greater than or equal to 10? Yes, because 10 is equal to 10, so it's got to be B on that one. So you can do it that way. Another option is if you're actually given the line on the graph, you can figure out if it's shaded above or below. So this symbol right here is a solid line, and it looks like it's above. However, because y is negative, that actually means it's going to flip, so it's actually going to be shaded below the graph, like that. Now you can kind of eyeball it. 0, 5 is right here. Oops, sorry, let me go back. 0, 5 is right here. That's on, 0, 5 is up here. That's above the line. It should be below, so that's wrong. 5, 0 is on the line because it's solid. It does count, so that's the answer. Negative 2, 5 is up here. Negative 5, 2 is up over here. So the only one that's in the shaded area or on a solid line is B. Another way of doing it, you can do it either way. All right, so that is it for linear inequalities. Half of your activity is going to be based on those two skills. The second set is factoring. So factoring with this, there's a couple ways to do this. What we did at the beginning of when we did factoring was we drew this x, we drew this box, and then we multiplied the first and last number, put it on top. So 9 times 16 is 144. We put B on bottom. We put the first term in the first box, last term in the last box. Okay, that's a lot of work. Now, there is an alternative. So because you're able to graph this in Desmos, instead of doing all that by hand, you could actually find the linear factors. So 9x squared. Don't forget the, it can be q of x, but we can also do f of x. So I'll just do f of x equals 9x squared minus 24 minus 24x plus 16. So it only crosses at 1.333. That right there is 1.33 is 4/3. So that means that your x-intercept is 4/3. Well, remember, there's a shortcut to finding the linear factors. You can do bottoms up, so we're going to take that bottom number and stick it in front of x. Now we need to get the number on the same side, so I move that plus 4 to the other side by making it a negative 4. And if you look, the only one that has 3x minus 4 is j. That's the answer. Now, there's an even easier way of doing this. We're trying to figure out which function is equivalent to this. Well, why don't we just graph them? So I had this typed in before. Let's just graph the answer choices. So 9x minus 4 times x minus 4. Okay, are those graphs the same? No. Okay, let's try the next one. The next one is 3x plus 4 squared. Are those the same? No, they're similar, but not the same. Okay, next one is 9x plus 4 and then x plus 4. That doesn't match. Last one, 3x minus 4 squared. Then that matches. Do you see how my purple turned to green? That means it's the same function, so we're done. That's an option. If anytime you see the word equivalent, there's a pretty good chance that you can graph your answer choices with the function and just see if it matches or not for those questions to make them a little bit easier. All right, so same thing on this one. Which expression is the factored form? So we're just trying to figure out which one of these is the factored form of this. Well, all I had to do is just graph. So 2x squared minus 25x plus 63. And then let's graph my answers. So x plus 9 times 2x plus 7. That does not match. Let's go to the next one. The next one is a x minus 9 and a 2x minus 7. If you look, my purple graph turned black. So that means it's the same line. Done. That's an option. There's a lot of problems you can do like that if you're trying to find the equivalent function, or if you're trying to find the one that's the same. You can just kind of graph and match on those questions. Another way to do it would be to find the roots. So it's x equals 3.5. 3.5 is 7 over 2. And x equals the other one, which is 9. So that would give me, this one's easier, so that's x minus 9. This one, we do bottoms up, and then that would be 2x minus 7, which if you look, those match these. So you can do it either way. So that's it. We're going to be hitting a lot of this Desmos and calculator tricks here. I'm also going to show you again how to factor it by hand in class if you want to do that method. But either way, I'll see you in class. And we're almost done with our summit review. This is one of our last videos.